What's going on, everyone? It's Sheena, aka Sheenapreneur, your favorite veteran. I want to talk a little bit today about starting small, because there are a lot of contracts out there, and most of the people that you will hear from, or most contracts that even you want to pursue, are gonna typically be larger dollar amounts. You're gonna hear big numbers. You're gonna hear multi-million-dollar contracts. But sometimes it's okay to start small. It's okay to start with the crumbs. Just like in War Dogs, when they say, "Hey, the crumbs add up." Crumbs add up. So just depending on where you are in your government contracting journey, it's okay to start small, and it's okay to continue small, because sometimes you might just have something where it's duplicated in the same city or in the same county, in the same state, even if whether it's federal or not federal, whether it's local or not local, corporate or not corporate, then you can just gather all of those same type of industry contracts and just add them all up and have the same contractors going to assist you with these contracts. So I wanted to give a few little encouraging words about those who think that I can only go after large contracts, when really you can go after small contracts. And as long as it's let's just say they're in the same area, the same location, or they're in the same industry, or they're just small enough to where they're only done a one and done, or done once a week or something like that, and you are subbing out the work, or you have employees that can do the work, a lot of those can really add up and give you that continuous income. That's what the main thing that you want to do, is get a contract that is long-term contract that is 3 to 5 years, or it's daily. Even if it's 1 year and it's a daily contract, it could be something small. But if you have multiple of those, if you just do the math, sometimes it just ends up working out better. I have a state contract, and we clean multiple of those buildings. It's not in the state where I reside, it's in a separate state, and a couple of those buildings that we clean are not daily. So for example, we clean one building 3 days a week, and in another building 2 days a week. So it could be the same employee or the same contractor doing both of those buildings. So you're kind of killing two birds in one stone, and they might be smaller in the grand scheme of things, but they could be work out best for you, because you have one employee that is essentially working two buildings for you. And that could be even if it's an employee, some employees really like to work. Okay, it might be a part-time gig for those two buildings, and let's say the third building is during the day and those other two are in the evening. That employee can also work morning and night. Some people really like to work. I was a 3-job shorty. I had 3 jobs at one point, so that might not be too far-fetched for that employee to have three. Basically, they're working 3 of your buildings for your contract. So you can do smaller pieces to where it makes sense when the numbers add up, because you're going to charge what it is for the employee or the subcontractor, and then you're going to get yours. But the great thing about that is that you're trying not to do any of the work, or at least amount of work as possible. You want to be able to submit invoices, of course, oversee, or you can have someone else oversee if the contract calls for it, or it's you have enough money to where you can pay a contractor to manage all of it. But don't shy away from smaller dollar contracts, because that goes into micro purchasing as well. There may be a one and done micro purchase where it's only $10,000, where it's only $5,000. But if you get $5,000 and you're only paying out $2,500, and you can get one of those every single month, that's $2,500 of very little work that you have to do. Imagine if you get 10 of those. Let's do the math. Okay, what's wrong with that? What is wrong with that? It doesn't have to be a multi-million-dollar contract. Everyone is not ready for $1 million contract, or even a $100,000 contract, because with that comes $100,000 worth of work, or $1 million worth of work. So go after some of these smaller contracts, but you can do that by either searching specifically for contracts that are just smaller. You can tell, especially when it comes to anything to do with square footage. If it's a small square footage and you have to provide a service, then naturally that's probably going to be a smaller contract, generally speaking. And then if it's a micro purchase, to where micro purchases are not usually displayed anywhere, but it might be something like an addition to some other contract. That could be, let's say someone, say me, and you're like, "Hey Sheena, you have this contract with this agency. Are they, my company, Foresight Industries, may not provide that service, but the agency that I have a contract with may need a service." And so the other person that is asking me, the contractor is asking, "Can I provide XYZ service?" Because you don't provide that, and then they do the job for, let's say it's under 10,000, and boom, they just got a micro contract. That's a simple that's the simplest way I can explain it. And so that might be your strategy every time that you talk to people who have contracts with agencies, and then boom, you just offer your specialized service added on to their service, or possibly asking for contacts, because that can be tricky, because you don't want to just ask something for nothing. If it's an addition to to help someone, to help a contractor, then yeah, that makes sense. But if it's something where you're like, hey, you need to help me, then no, you need to figure out another way to bring value. And if bringing value means, I know your company, Foresight Industries, does not provide blah, blah, blah. I want to provide blah, 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 and be able to be, paid alongside you, whether it's a micro contract or, just in addition, you become a subcontractor for me. So I just want to give a little quick encouragement to let you guys know it's okay. It's okay to have small contracts. It could be worth it for the length of time. It could be worth it because it's like a one and done and it's super easy. It could be a one day contract and you knock it out and you don't have to provide a whole lot of service or product. And then boom, now that you have a couple of those under your belt, then you don't have to worry about, trying to manage or subcontract or, just really be inundated with a very, very large contract, especially if it's your first go around or you're trying to like scale or pivot or do something different than what you normally do. So just want to share that. Crumbs are okay. Crumbs are okay. You can go after something smaller. It's not going to be, a failure. It could be under a subcontract. It could be a micro purchase. It could be, something sole source related. It could be a commercial contract. Even if you do commercial, that's still building up something for your business and is showing an agency or even a contractor like me that you do this in real life. Like I don't want somebody that's just starting out some stuff. Like if you're, depending on how you do business, I don't always want someone who's just starting. Just depends on how they conduct business, like just how they do business for real, because I don't necessarily know how you behave, like how you act under stress, because just in this industry, in this business, I've seen a lot of people crack under stress. And I want to make sure that if you are working with me, that you can handle some of the things that come with this process, because it can be brutal, it can be rough, or it can be beautiful and lovely. So just remember that it's okay and that you can perform certain things at a lower level and just build that up and continue to do that. You can use them as gap fillers. So until next time, it's your favorite veteran.